Morning, everybody. Welcome to our June 27th council meeting. I would just like to say that Murray could be coming on, but he's having a few technical difficulties right now. Right now, we'll read the land acknowledgement. The municipality of Dysart acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory known as the Williams Treaty First Nations, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Brahma, Bullalea, and Georgina First Nations. And we thank these nations for their care and stewardship over this shared land. We have a resolution to adopt the agenda.
Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dysart et al. Held on June 27th be approved as presented.
We have a mover, please. Moved by Pat, seconded by Tammy. Do we have any disclosure of peculiar interest? Barry?
Property owner is applicant.
Okay, thank you. And the adoption of the minutes.
Resolution.
Yeah.
Be it resolved that council approves the June 13th regular council meeting minutes as circulated.
Mover, please. Carm, seconder, Pat. Thank you. Right now, we don't have any mayor or deputy mayor's report, and there's Murray. Good.
Murray, can you hear me okay?
And what about mute? Is it on mute?
No,
No, you're good. We can hear you.
I'm on live now.
Can you hear me okay? Murray, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Okay. There you are.
Oh, wonderful.
What was it?
I don't know what the problem was there, but we definitely have a problem. All I need now is the internet to go down and we're good to go.
it's up to you guys.
Murray, we're at the start of the public meeting there. So if you'd like to take it from there, go right ahead.
Was the start? Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
Everything else has been covered so far. So
Oh, okay, great. Okay. Okay, so let's have
I think we have to have a resolution to go into the public meeting.
okay. Okay, then have a resolution then, Tamara?
Be it resolved that council hereby adjourns the regular meeting of council at 9:07 a.m. to proceed into a public meeting to consider zoning bylaw amendment application files D14 ZB 2023-001 Lands of Cannon and D14 ZB 2022-016 Lands of Warren.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy. And Barry. All in favor?
Good morning,
Okay,
everyone. Can everyone hear me?
I guess we shouldn't have passed the resolution until we heard your report, Chris, but anyway, go ahead.
Just give me 1 second here. Sorry about that. So this is for file D14 ZB 2023-001. The property is subject to a concurrent severance application that would subdivide the property into one retained and one severed lot. The condition of that severance was to rezone the property to maintain a 30-meter setback from the lake and to address the minimum lot frontage and lot area, which is pertaining to this application, the zoning application. The proposed zoning will address the lot frontage and water setbacks. Zoning exception is required for the proposed retained lot to address the reduced lot area. The severance is also subject to a severance agreement to ensure the property is developed in accordance with the approved plans and studies. All neighboring property owners within 120 meters of the subject lands and appropriate agencies have been circulated. And the proposed is generally consistent with the provincial policy, generally conforms to the municipal official plan. And it is recommended that council approve the application, and that concludes the presentation. But I believe the planning consultant is, or the planning consultant on this file is in attendance to speak further to the application.
Okay, do we want to hear from her? Is that, seems like it's straightforward, but go ahead. Cassie?
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, good morning, Mayor, Council, staff members, members of the public, if there are any. I'm Cassie Sauer from Marie Poirier Planning, which is 44 King William Street, Unit A, Huntsville, Ontario, P1H1G3. I'm the acting agent for this file. We'd like to thank staff for working on this file for over a year. And we are in support of the staff recommendation today. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we did have a resolution on this, so I guess going forward, Chris, we just need to get a majority vote on that, and then we'll do the zoning a little later, right?
Sorry, yeah, this is for the zoning. I just spoke about the
I'm sorry.
severance. Yeah, I just spoke about the severance just because they are concurrent, and sort of just to give a bit of background as to why the zoning is coming forward today. So this
Yeah.
is for the zoning application. That's correct. So you'll be
Okay.
voting on the zoning today.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I said it's coming later. Okay, all in favor then? Okay,
Just, I'm gonna read
Nancy and,
Murray.
yeah,
I'm just gonna read the resolution.
okay, second time, we should get it right this time.
Be it resolved that file number ZB 2023-001 for the lands of Cannon, which consists of part lot 6, concession 13, part road allowance plan 19R 1714, part 1, plan 19R 5467, part 6 in the geographic township of Havelock, municipality of Dysart et al. Be received for information, and that council directs a bylaw be brought forward for consideration during its June 27th regular council meeting, and that council recommend that the bylaw be approved.
Okay, and I think that was moved by Nancy and seconded by Barry. So all in favor? Okay, I guess we are. Can't see there, but anyway, I assume we are. Somebody will say they're not if they're not. Okay, so now we move on to the next file there.
That's correct. This is for, this is for another zoning bylaw amendment. This is for D14 ZB 2022-016. The proposed zoning, again, is a condition of a recent severance that would subdivide the subject property into one severed and one retained lot. The proposed will see the lots rezoned from rural type 1L to waterfront residential type 5L with exception zone to recognize the proposed lot frontage, the water setbacks for dwelling and other structures due to the steep slopes along the shoreline, and for the dock location as outlined in the environmental report for the proposed severed lot. All neighboring property owners within 120 meters of the subject lands and appropriate agencies have been circulated. To date, no comments have been received, and the proposed is generally consistent with provincial policy, generally conforms to the municipal official plan, and is recommended that council approve the application. And I believe that the consultant is in attendance to speak further to the application if needed.
Do you think that's necessary? Do we need to speak? I think it's pretty straightforward, but go ahead if you have something to add.
No, we are fine with that. We are, if there's any questions, we have some pictures and documentation, whatever you need. I'm Debbie Vandenacker, so we are, and Gordon Nielsen and I are here to help Sean with this file. So if you've got questions, please let us know. Other than that, thank you for your time.
Now, this has been around for many, many years, this particular lot, so I think we're good here. So I guess, Tamara, we need a resolution then?
Yep. Be it resolved that file number D14 ZB 2022-016 for the lands of Warren, which consists of part lot 22, concession 8, parts 3, 4, and 6, plan 19R 5350, in the geographic township of Guilford, municipality of Dysart et al. Be received for information, and that council directs a bylaw be brought forward for consideration during its June 27th regular meeting, and that council recommend that the bylaw be approved.
Okay, we need a resolution then. Moved by. Walt, you'll have to tell me who's moving it in second. I can't see this from here.
Okay, I'm moving it and Carm is seconding it.
Okay. You've heard the resolution. All in favor? Okay, carried. Okay, thank you. So now we need a resolution to adjourn the public meeting.
Okay, be it resolved that council hereby adjourns the public meeting at 9:14 a.m. and reconvenes the regular meeting of council.
Mover and seconder. Nancy and let's say Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the committee reports. Tammy Harcourt,
They haven't had a meeting since the last time I reported.
and I don't know, maybe you do want to report that Search is having some gatherings out there to help people with the vegetables that are probably unaffordable. So that's a good news story.
Yes, and we're just waiting for a time and a date that they're going to come.
Okay, thank you.
What is it?
West Guilford, Carl.
We're supposed to have a meeting last night, Murray, but we didn't. It got postponed till Wednesday night, so I got nothing to report other than I don't imagine we're having fireworks for Canada Day.
Okay, well, that's a big event for you guys for sure. Okay. Rails End, Nancy.
The report is actually attached. They're working on their strategic plan. They had a few new volunteers that want to join up with Rails End. They have a new summer staff person. They have a youth online exhibition, and that's ongoing. It was a little bit late opening. They're very busy, a very positive group, and they, certainly attract a lot of people into town and down in around York Street and to the gallery itself.
No, for sure they do. They work all the time there. They do a good job. Anyway, I guess we need a resolution on that one. Tamara?
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the June 2023 Rails End Gallery Arts Center report.
Okay, moved by Nancy, I assume. Seconded. Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Pat, Rails End, or BIA.
Hey, Murray, I was in my surgery back then when that was going on, but I was chatting with the BIA the other day at the cenotaph, and the flowers are up and new banners been ordered, and so they're nothing major to report, but just getting into the summer swing of things there. So
Yeah, and I guess one of the stories is that the deer got into the planters in the park, and even though they were deer resistant, they either pulled them up or took them off. So flowers may not be quite as pretty as they used to be, but that's the price you pay for too many deer in town.
maybe we could just put deer feeders in the planters, maybe.
Well, yeah, there you go. If you want to feed them right in the deer feeders. The other thing that I wanted to do and get started, and I started it, but I couldn't get I know what you went through with back surgery, Pat, by the way. I'm going to have that coming up on the 10th, I think. But bottom line is the caboose has fallen to pieces and it's going downhill. So I thought, well, maybe we can, it's a historic site for Halliburton for sure, that we could do something with it. So I thought about painting it and cleaning it up and maybe turning it into something useful. So I took Rob down there because we needed to find a place for the bicycle rack. So, and I thought I was doing the right thing. I'll call Ursula DeVolen, and she said she put me on to somebody else, who then called Pat, who hadn't had the opportunity to look at it. And I guess we're not going to get anything done with it this year, but I hate to see that just sit there and rot. We got to do something with it, and we can, but I maybe wait till a little later in the fall, and we'll get together as a council and decide what we can do with it and how we can fix it to actually generate some revenue rather than just sitting there rotting. It's a shame. But anyway, that's the story on that. And I did want to bring Pat up to date because he got caught in the middle of it. And I apologize for that, Pat. That shouldn't have been the way it happened. So anyway, if everyone's all right with that, we'll look at it later. The BIA, you've reported on, so we need a resolution, I guess.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the minutes from the April 25th Downtown Halliburton BIA Board of Management meeting as information.
Mover and seconder, Pat and Walt. You okay? All in favor? Carried. Okay, so now Harvest Halliburton, you're on again, Pat.
Yeah, nothing to report there, Murray.
Okay. Kawartha Halliburton Source Protection Authority. Walt,
No, I'm sorry, I don't have anything to report also.
okay. And Barry, I don't doubt if there's been a meeting of that, has there?
No, there hasn't been, not since a couple months ago.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on then to a letter that came from council looking for a stop sign at Sandpoint and Indian Point Road. I think there are a number of stop signs on these roads, but I don't know why there isn't one there, whether it's come down or does Rob have a comment on that or?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of council. So council does have a few options here regarding this letter. So the Highway Traffic Act does permit council to install stop signs, but they need to be bylawed. So if that's what council wishes to do, then we can bring a bylaw back to the next council. A yield sign can be placed without a bylaw, or we can leave it as is and just leave it as an uncontrolled intersection. So just as a little more background for council, the road was assumed back in the 60s, and I'm not aware of any accident history. And this is the first complaint that we've had about a near miss at that intersection.
So the very least we should do is the yield sign, right?
Yeah, the yield sign is the easiest. Well, the easiest is to do nothing, obviously, but the next easiest is the yield sign. Does not require a bylaw.
Okay, well, we don't need to get into that right now unless there's not been a series of accidents there. Is everyone all right with at some point putting a yield sign there? Okay. Good, so that's your direction, Rob. We need a resolution on that.
Yes. Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the request from Indian Point Road resident Suzanne Montgomery requesting that council consider installing a yield or stop sign at the intersection of Sandpoint Road and Indian Point Road. And further that council directs staff to install a yield sign at that location. Does that work?
Moving seconder, Nancy and Barry or Carm, doesn't matter. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Speed reduction on Loon Lake Road. I thought we just did one, but I guess that was for the highway, wasn't it? So is this, I guess.
No, this is for Loon Lake Road itself.
Okay. Okay, what's everybody think about that? I don't know why they'd be speeding on that road. Nancy?
I think there's a few areas that we need to look at to class them as like a community safety zone where there's a lot of people, walking and biking and stuff. So I wonder if we could just kind of do that all at once and just lower the speed limits on some of the side and back roads. Rob, what do we have to do in order to do that?
Yeah, I think this was brought up at the last meeting or maybe the one before that. Is we still do have a speed limit study coming forward that council is going to see this fall. So we had consultants come in and assess our entire network based on the Highway Traffic Act. So I think if we start there, it's a good foundation for moving forward with community safety zones. But I think ultimately we're going to have a pretty in-depth policy and talk about this because it's really going to open up a big can of worms in my mind.
And I don't think it's as simple as it sounds either. There's a lot of lot of regulations in that speed reduction zone. I remember we went through it, Rob, at Inglesby, and there was quite a lot of red tape there. So anyway, we'll get that. Is that good to get the study in the fall? It's been that way for a number of years, so probably not going to change a lot this summer. So could we have a resolution on that, Tamara?
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the correspondence from Kathy Jolivet on behalf of the Loon Lake Properties Association requesting that council reduce the speed on Loon Lake Road to 30 kilometers per hour.
Okay, that covers it, right?
That's just receiving the request.
Yeah, okay. So we're really doing nothing with it so far. Okay.
Could someone respond to her and tell her that this is something that's going to be in a process?
Yes, I think we should. We can do that. Okay. Mover and seconder. We'll all jump up at once. Nancy and Carm. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Okay, Parks and Recreation. Rails End requesting a waiver for the washroom for their July event. Or a reduction. Andrea?
Morning. Sorry, I missed the first part. I was just joining in the meeting, but there is a letter from Lori Jones asking either a fee reduction or a fee waiver for the use of the washrooms during the Rails End Arts and Crafts Festival. So she has requested the use of the washrooms to be open for a couple of extra hours on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings. So I've broken down the cost of that. If you were looking at just the flat rate flat rate and the washroom charge over the course of the weekend, it would be $366, leaving a net of about $122 for the Welcome Center. There is also an option of just charging the flat rate of $100 per night, or there's the option to waive the fees for the Arts and Crafts Festival. So in her letter, she had talked about hiring overnight security, also renting some additional porta potties for the overnight washrooms that for the people that stay in the park. And then she's renting the tables and chairs trailer that we provide for a concert that's happening. So that's going to be in place as well. So that's why she's asking for a consideration with the fees for the washrooms.
So what did we do for Rotary? We have to treat everybody the same here.
We didn't charge them. We waived the fees for this year.
Okay. Well, I guess we should do this. My head thinks we should be treating everybody the same way here. Any comments?
I agree, Murray, that we should be treating them the same way.
Okay. All right. We do have a resolution on that then?
Yes, it would be choice. Let me look. The third choice, I think, for the resolution.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
to waive it. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to read that, Tamara?
Be it resolved that council waives the Welcome Center washroom fees for the 2023 Rails End Gallery and Arts Center Arts and Craft Festival.
Mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat. All in favor? Carried. Good.
Thank you. I'll let Lori know.
Thank you. Okay. Building and bylaw. Building inspector appointment, Carl? Or Brianne, one of you, I guess.
Good morning. So
Morning.
the first report is just to appoint a building inspector. So Jamie Coltman. Jamie Coltman came to us as a fill-in permit clerk while Noella was on maternity leave. And in that time, she did partake in a lot of our training sessions to get qualified. So she is qualified now in-house, which is half the battle. Now it's a matter of training her. So we do have to appoint her as a building inspector for her to be able to enforce and administer the Building Code Act.
Good. And I certainly was part of that interview and I was very impressed with her. So I think maybe she got out of town before Olivia Chow took over. Who knows? Anyway, that's not funny. Okay, do we need a resolution, I guess, on the bylaw appointment? Tamara?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-64, being a bylaw to appoint a building inspector, Jamie Coltman, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, in the corporate seal attached here too.
Okay, moving seconder. I can't see names or faces there. Okay, I guess there's Nancy and
Sorry.
who's second of all? I can't see. Carm, is he? All in favor? If you didn't want to second it and I call your name, I'll just say so. Anyway, that's good. All in favor of that? We are. So let's move on to septic maintenance inspection report.
Good morning. Yeah, so this is just an updated report for our progress that we made through the month of May. It was a little bit late getting here. I was hoping to have it to you guys earlier this month for earlier month council, but things got busy really quickly. So we're here now. So in the month of May, we completed over 170 inspections in the course of roughly 16 days. We visited properties across 13 different lakes. So originally, based on our schedule, it was sort of intended that we were going to complete inspections on Head Lake, Grass Lake, and Cache within the first little bit. But just based on our attempts to be flexible with other people based on their vacation schedules and stuff like that, we were able to kind of move things around for people. So yeah, our inspectors have covered some ground in the last few weeks. June's been even busier, but that'll come to you guys next month. But so far we're seeing fairly typical results. Nothing is too out of the ordinary. We have 41 properties in the month of May that were deemed as high risk. Typically in those instances, that's to do with their use permits not being followed. So having too many bedrooms, such like that, that's deemed as high risk. 58 were medium risk. Those are the ones that are usually more so about pump outs, baffle replacements, lid replacements, things like that. And then the ones that you see listed in the report as low risk are properties that had no compliance issues noted during the inspection. And then sorry, go on.
I think that's a really good report. I like the fact that you can look at your lake and say, oh my goodness, like I looked at Barnum Lake here and there's only about 15 septics on the whole lake and 8 of them are questionable. So they're old too. So I guess that's good for people to see. And especially on Cache, really high percentage there. That's and of course they're old too. So I think that's a good report and it's good for people on the lakes to see that. It's a wake up call. Nancy, you have a question?
Just a question for Bree. When we're telling people they have to decommission bedrooms and stuff, we aren't going back and doing follow-up visits. But I had one call that said they had to get a building permit to decommission their bedrooms, and I didn't quite understand that. So I asked for an email for more specifics so that I could ask you directly. But there's no sort of fee for decommissioning those spaces that they're using for bedrooms, right?
No, there is. So you can see in the report, if you scroll down, I did attach a list of like remedial action descriptions. So that's kind of our most common remedial actions and what the next step is for becoming compliant. So when there's an issue with too many bedrooms, we give them 2 options. They can choose to decommission, and that's done through a septic review, which is a fee that was passed through this bylaw for $150. And basically that is allowing us to complete the entire paper trail. So we are bringing them back into compliance with their use permit. And it does involve a secondary site visit. So one of our building inspectors attends the site and goes out and confirms visually that the space has been, like the use of the space has been changed. So oftentimes people do that by way of, turning it into a home office or a gym or den or something like that. Essentially, we're just making sure that it's not being utilized for overflow sleeping at that point.
That's Carl, you have something to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that with regards to any time that we come across like a basement that's been finished without a permit, where the original plans show it's not a finished basement, but it's now finished with bedrooms. We do require building permits to be taken out to finish those basement spaces, even though it's already done. We go in and verify that there's proper egress from those basements and proper smoke alarms, those types of things. And any plumbing that's been done has been done correctly. So if there is building permit requirements, that's the reason why.
I had a call yesterday from a gentleman who was a senior, and he wondered if he didn't realize there was a septic inspection program going on. So he thought this was another scam on seniors to get the money and get the information. So I think I cleared that up with him. So he's good now, but he thought the fee was a little high, but I explained that to him too. So I think he's good. So anyway, good report, Bree and Carl, and I think we're on the right track here. Okay, resolution, please.
Be it resolved that council receives a May 2023 update for the septic maintenance inspection program as information.
Mover and seconder.
Barry.
Barry and Pat, is that okay? All in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you. And now a request for a temporary patio extension for the Algonquin Cookhouse. Okay, who's going to report on that? That's pretty straightforward. Tammy, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, when I read, I'm not sure. I mean, he ran it before, so I just don't understand why he has to come back to do this, but I guess he has to, and it has to come to council, but I can't see any problem with it.
No, I don't either, quite frankly.
It's the AGCO rules that require it to get council approval for a temporary.
Ah, okay.
So we have a mover and a seconder. Do you want to move that,
I'll
Tammy?
move it. Yeah,
Move it, seconder?
Walt, second it.
Walt, all in favor?
I'll just read the resolution. Hang on.
Oh, gee, sorry.
That's okay. I've written down the mover and seconder then. Be it resolved that council authorizes Algonquin Cookhouse to temporarily extend their patio located at 3907 Loop Road in 2023, provided that the following criteria is met. The patio must remain on private property as per OReg 35222 under the Liquor License and Control Act 2019. The capacity of the area to which the extension applies must allow for at least 1.11 square meters per person. And the temporary licensing extension expires on October 9th, 2023, which is Thanksgiving Monday.
Now we'll try this again. Tammy and Walt, all in favor? Good, carried. Okay. On to accessible transportation.
Now, this was discussed the last meeting in terms of the increase to the contract for the operation of the Dymo bus. It was agreed that we'd bring back associated fee increases.
Okay, and everybody's had a chance to look at that. It's not an unreasonable request based on inflation, I don't think. That doesn't anywhere near to cover itself, does it? Cost wise. Do we know that?
Oh, well, the amounts that have been proposed here are to get you back on
Make it
in
self-sufficient?
terms of breaking even anyway.
Okay. And that doesn't put anything aside to buy another one?
No.
Because that will happen.
Some of
Anyway,
that- Yeah,
we get funding, gas funding for that.
yeah, as I say, it's a brand new bus too.
Yeah, okay. So read the resolution then.
Yep. Be it
Please.
resolved that council approves the proposed increases to the Dymo bus passenger rate schedule as presented and further directs that an updated Dymo bus fees and charges bylaw be brought to the July 25th council meeting after notice requirements have been fulfilled.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Carm, all in favor? Carry. Good. Okay, planning and land information. Jeff and Chris, whoever.
Yeah, this is the bylaw for the file number D14ZB 2023-001, Lands of Canaan. And if council is ready to approve it, no comments or questions were received through the public process.
Yeah, and we did hear a pretty thorough report on that this morning. If there's not any questions, we'll have the resolution. Resolution, please.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-60 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of Canaan, which consists of part lot 6, concession 13, part road allowance plan 19R 1714, part 1, plan 19R 5467, part 6, in the geographic township of Havelock, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone on the subject property from waterfront residential type 3L to waterfront residential 5L zone for the severed lot and waterfront residential type 5L8, exception zone for the retained lot be read a first, second, third time passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Nancy and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, on to the next one.
Yep, the next one is for bylaw 2023-61. We heard this file earlier this morning for the lands of Warren, and no comments were received through the public process. If council have any comments, I'm happy to address. If not, council can approve.
Looks like we got 3 in a row for that. No, 2 in a row. Okay. Resolution, please.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-61 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of Warren, which consists of part lot 22, concession 8, parts 3, 4, and 6, plan 19R 5350 in the geographic township of Guilford, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone on the subject property from rural type 1L zone to waterfront residential type 5L7 exception zone for the severed lot and waterfront residential type 5L7 exception zone for the retained lot be read a first, second, and third time passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
That is in Guilford, is it?
Yes.
Okay. No, if it was for sure. Okay. Mover and seconder then. Okay, who's that? That's
Walton Carm.
Walton Carm. Okay, all in favor? Carried.
Okay.
Okay, on to the next one.
Yep, the next one is related to the Warren property again. This is for severance agreement. The application is a result of a condition related to the recent severance for the subject property that requires the owners to enter into the severance agreement. The intent of the severance agreement is to give notice to the owners and future owners of the required conditions and approved plans for development of the subject property. It is recommended that council approve the bylaw 2023-62, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of the severance agreement with the registered owner.
Okay. Chris, is there no way of combining that with the one above it? Like, you guys are doing a pile of paperwork here. I guess that's the way it has to be, eh?
Yeah, they're all separate applications, so
Okay,
they have to be
all right.
separated out. That's
Just
correct.
trying to help you here. Anyway,
Thanks.
we need all the help we can get. Yeah. Could I have a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that file number LO4 SV 2022-002 for the lands of Warren be received for information, and that bylaw 2023-62 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a severance agreement with Sean Warren for the lands located in part lot 22, concession 8, part lots 3, 4, and 6, plan 19R 5350 in the geographic township of Guilford be read a first, second, and third time passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
Okay, move in seconder. Okay, Barry and Walt, who's second there? I didn't see.
Pat or Tammy.
Yeah, Pat, okay. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next.
Okay, and this is for the can property. So similar to the above, it's for a severance agreement, which was a result of a condition of a recent severance for the subject property. And again, the intent of the severance agreement is to give notice to the owners, future owners of the required conditions and approve plans for the development of the subject property. And it is recommended that council approve bylaw 2023-63, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of the severance agreement with the registered owner.
Okay. Any discussion? Mover and seconder?
Let's read the resolution.
Yeah, oh yeah, resolution first. I keep forgetting about how important you are, Tamara.
That's all right. That's all right. Be it resolved that file number LO4 SB 2022-003 for the lands of Cannon be received for information, and that bylaw 2023-63 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a severance agreement with Melissa and Philip Cannon for the lands located in Part Lot 6, Concession 13, Havelock Road, Road Allowance Part 1, RP 19R 1714, Part 6, RP 19R 5467, and geographic township of Havelock be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too.
Okay, mover and seconder. Okay, Nancy and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay, now on to an original road allowance on Musquaby. I think
Yes, thank you.
somebody's been out to look at this.
Correct. Yeah, this is a returning file and it was deferred at the council meeting in May for a site inspection. The site inspection occurred on May 30th with Councillor McKechnie and staff attending. There is an existing bell line on the road allowance. The road allowance is quite steep. There is a path on the road allowance, so there is potential for access, but it is quite steep. Councillor McKechnie may want to provide his perspective from the site visit, but other than that, staff request direction whether council want to proceed with this application.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, Marie, I was definitely out there with Jeff and Adam. And my opinion is that it is extremely steep. And I know my comment was, I'm not walking down there. But it's especially the top part, it's kind of slanted also, but also steep. It'd be hard to create some type of a path down there for sure, so.
and I think there is lots of public access on Musquaby.
Yes.
It's not like we're taking anybody's rights away. So I guess we're good with that one then. Resolution?
Be it resolved, the council approves for processing an application by Cloutier and Rempel Fearing to purchase a portion of the original road allowance adjacent to their property between Part Lot 15 and 16, Concession 3 in the geographic township of Dudley. As per section 3.2.7 of the official plan, the structure located on the dock in front of the lands of Cloutier, identified as roll number 02000076802, shall be removed or brought into compliance. These lands are declared surplus.
So that'll be moved by Walt, obviously, and Tammy, could you second that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all in favor? Carried. Okay. Next, another road allowance.
Yes,
Yeah,
Donna Santre, who owns two separate properties on Little Kinesis Lake, has made application to purchase the shore road allowances in front of each of those properties. They both appear to be vacant, so based on the policy, staff recommend approval to process this application.
Okay. Has anybody been to look at that?
Staff were out there for pictures. There's some pictures on the agenda, and nothing significant to report.
So staff's recommending it then?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just have a question. So would this be two applications then, one for each property, or when she buys it, would it deem those properties?
The properties don't abut, but it can still be processed as a joint application where there's some savings that the applicant can have in terms of the administration costs, that type of thing. But it will be separate land costs, separate legal costs. They can be included in the same bylaw. But it can go forward as a joint application.
Okay, that's a good question. Any other questions there? Then resolution, please.
Be it resolved that council approves for processing a joint application by Donna Santry to purchase a portion of the shore road allowances along the shore of Little Kinesis Lake in front of her two properties identified as part lot 20, concession 5, part lot 45 and lot 47, plan 493 in the geographic township of Havelock. These lands are declared surplus.
Okay, mover and seconder. Okay, Walt, can you tell me who's, I can't see hands there.
Carmen Berry. Carmen moved it.
Carmen Berry.
Be second.
Okay, okay. All in favor? Carried. Okay. So now we are on to the next one there, Jeff or Carl or Chris,
Yep.
whoever.
Yes, thank you. So the Sandy Cove Dock Association, which is made up of 6 water access properties on Drag Lake, have made application to renew their existing license of occupation agreement. That agreement permits a dock with 6 slips and 6 dedicated parking spaces to be located on original road allowance right at the Sandy Cove Boat Launch and Beach.
Right.
Staff request direction from council if they wish to entertain that renewal. And if you do agree to renew the license, we're just looking for some direction in terms of the length of the agreement and the license fee. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to discuss.
Well, I should say, past council spent a lot of time on this one because it is water access. And it's the only way they have to get to their island or to the mainland. And they were pretty clear about what area they had to go. They had to have it surveyed. And they spent a lot of money with docks and a proper system. So I don't think we want to cut them off. So it's a question about the fee and it's a question about the length of the agreement. So I guess we have to be consistent with the fee that we just charged Long Lake. And the length of the lease or agreement, I guess, is up to council. Whether they want to do 2 years or 5 years or whatever. Any comments on that? That's in Ward 2, Nancy.
What did we do with the Long Lake? What was the length of the agreement? Did we not do it to the end of our term of council?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
So
Probably
I
should
think
be.
we should be consistent with all of these applications.
Yeah, I think you're right. Any comment on that? So that would be into the end of the 3rd year then, or or the end of the 4th year, I guess. Did we have and the fee we established, right? On that application?
Well, if you're looking for consistency from the one that was recently approved on Mink Road, it was $500 per dock. And that's actually what the past agreement that just expired, that's what their fee was in that as well. So it wouldn't be changing, $500 per
The
slip.
fee wouldn't be changing, but the time limit would, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, is there any discussion on that? That's a good bump. They got the bump already, so.
So that's,
Pat, do you have? No, okay.
I just wanted to know what it was before for the length of the term.
I think it was to the end of the term.
The last one was for 5 years. The
Well,
last
was.
license was
Geez,
5
5
years.
years travels fast, doesn't it?
But
Okay.
I really think that we should have, so all these license of occupations all come back to the next council at one time, so they can maintain that consistency and not wonder, well, what did we do for this person, this person, this person?
Yeah, and what do they
Easier to have
want to adjust the fee to?
all those
Yeah.
applications come up within a month or 2 of each other, and that's probably easier for staff to track them as well.
Yeah, that makes sense, for sure. So I guess we need a resolution then?
Could I have a comment, Ray?
Okay, yes, well,
So there's 6 people, 6 different families. They're using this dock. They all have
Yeah.
their own slip.
yeah,
Refresh my memory. Did we not charge the Mink Road each family $500?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
should we be consistent with this also, or is it not the same? I know it's only one dock, but there's
No,
five-
it's the same. It's the same.
we charge them all 6 as far as I know.
Okay,
Each property owner pays the $500 for the use.
thank you, thank you. That's, I just want to clarify that. Thank
No,
you.
no, and that's a good point. That needs to be made clear. Okay, we did the resolution, right?
And it's 5 years is what you're looking at?
All at the end of the term, whatever that is. So it will expire with council.
Okay, we probably want it to expire a little bit into the next term because otherwise it'll expire before anybody has a chance to.
Well, it'll be in the middle of the winter, so they won't be using it anyway, but anyway,
Jeff has a comment.
yeah.
And just going back to the other one, council made similar comments about it expiring with the term of council. All of our licenses of occupation, we try and have them expire on May 31st of the year so that we bring them all forward together. So what we did for that last Mink Road one was we made it expire the May 31st after the election. So it'll come back to new council a few months into the new term.
So how about with an expiry of May 31st, what year is that?
27, isn't there?
May 31st, what year, sorry? What's the end of your? Or
Is
the-
it not 27 or is it 26? I don't know.
It would be till 27. That's correct.
Yeah, 27, yeah.
So it's 4-year license.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have something I can read.
Okay,
Be it resolved that council directs staff to process an application to renew a license of occupation agreement with Sandy Cove Dock Association for the use of part of the original road allowance on, sorry, make sure I skipped a line, on Drag Lake located Block A, Plan 391, Part 4, Concession 9 and 10 in the geographic township of Dudley, and further that the license fee for license of occupation L04 LO 2023-004 is set at $500 per property owner with an expiry of May 31st, 2027.
okay, now we need a mover and second. Nancy moved. Pat second. All in favor? Carried. Okay, now on to the next one. Moose
Yes.
Lake.
Yes, thank you. This is another license of occupation application. A group of 3 property owners on Elk Drive would like to renew an existing license of occupation agreement with the municipality that permits 2 docks to be located on a municipally owned shore road allowance on Moose Lake. If council is considering approving the renewal, based on questions surrounding legal access, staff recommend council defer the request so that the applicants can provide information to prove legal access to the docking area. I know there's been some discussion going on about this behind this in my office anyways with Councillor McKechnie. So if there's any questions about this, I know it's kind of probably a bit of a shock to the applicants, but I'm happy to discuss any questions you have. And before discussion begins, there may be, the applicants may be in attendance today too.
Okay, I think Mr. Lavery's in attendance, I think. Well, there's a couple of things going on here. First of all, I think it needs to be pushed off for a month because it might get resolved. Number 2, I think that Councillor McKechnie has made suggestions to the owner that they might do something with that little strip that would clear it all up and have it go forward. So I think they're going to be talking to you too, Jeff, about any repercussions that might be, liabilities and things like that. So Walt, do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, Jeff and I have been talking about it, and also the property owner. And they're meeting next Wednesday. There's going to be a meeting, and I think a lot will be resolved then. I'm hoping it will be.
Okay. And Wayne, do we need you to weigh in on this, or I know we know the importance to you guys, but we want to get it resolved. I don't know that Wayne's on here or not. I don't see him.
He hasn't been brought forward yet, Murray.
Okay. Well, I don't, unless we need to bring him forward, I think it's going to be, it'll be put off till next Wednesday, and hopefully there'll be a resolution. Is that fair, Walt?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'll keep the people informed.
Okay, that's great.
Pat's got a question.
Murray,
Okay, Pat?
I don't really know the framework of what they're asking here, but is that some property we could sell to them or is no way? we-
Yes, that would be the solution, that they would give it to the township because it's on the road. And
Okay.
then that solves,
There you go.
and I don't know why she wouldn't want to, because that removes her from liability. There's a lot of these little pieces around that subdivision of Sir Sam's that have sold to individuals. That's gonna come up again and again. So we need to get a solution in one place that we can apply in the others and try and get some of these things resolved. Seems like it's not simple. Anyway, so that gets deferred then, Tamara?
Yeah, I have a resolution for deferral if that's what you'd like.
Okay,
Be it resolved that council defer the request to renew the license of occupation agreement with Bishop Lavery and Hamilton for use of the original shore road allowance on Moose Lake between blocks G and H, Plan 541 in front of Lot 32, concession 3 and 4 in the geographic township of Guilford.
okay, and I guess Walt, you'd want to move that, who, a seconder? Nancy, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Now, the right of way for,
Yes, the next one is for consent. So this one, the applicant recently purchased a shore road allowance. The property is located within Harcourt Park. As such, the owner requires a consent application to merge the shore road allowance with the existing land lease holdings. Pretty much straightforward, and it is recommended that council support the general principle of the consent proposal as submitted, subject to any conditions listed in this report.
so do they own this property now then?
Well, it's
It's
a
still a
land
lease.
lease. It's a
It's
land
still a
lease.
land
It's
lease.
just, yeah, they've purchased their shore road allowance, and in order to merge that, in order to create that land lease with the shore road allowance and the main property, they have to go through a consent application.
Yeah, so, but it's still part of the lease.
Correct.
Right.
I believe so, Jeff, unless you want to jump in on that question, but I believe it's still the lease.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
The lands are owned by Harcourt Park and leased out to the
Yeah,
applicants.
that's
to
the way it should
tenants.
be, for sure. Resolution,
Be it resolved that council support the general principle of a proposal for consent file number D00SV to 2023-006 lands of Harcourt Park Inc. Lease holding of Hayes, subject to the conditions outlined within the staff report.
I'll move.
okay. Alrighty, Tammy, you'd want to move that?
I'll move it.
Yeah, second? Barry, all in favor? Carry. Okay, on to the next one.
Okay, the next one is for a consent proposal for an easement right of way for the lands of Easton's Grocers Limited. The proposal is to establish a legal right of way easement from Highland Street over the subject property to the benefiting lot of Cozy Corner. It is recommended that council support the general principle of the consent proposal as submitted, subject to the conditions as listed in the report. And I believe Sue Harrison is in attendance today, which is the planning consultant to address any questions council may have.
I always thought there was a right of way through there, but I guess it was just natural that they drove through there. They never had legal right of way. So that this will allow shoppers people to go out the back way to the, is that right, Sue?
No, this is to grant Cozy Corner access from Highland
Oh,
Street.
Cozy Corner, okay,
Yeah, so they can go around through Shoppers Drug Mart around the back and access.
okay. But shoppers people would still be able to come around there, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah,
Okay, that's
it
what I
just
thought.
establishes a legal access for Cozy Corner. Should in the future there be a sale of the property, it would be clear that there was a right of access.
Okay. All right, so is everybody, while you're looking at the map there, you can see what's going on there. It's just something that never got done. So,
Correct.
Was there was there access between the two buildings in the past? I know they had their Cozy Corner had picnic tables and everything set up there in COVID times. It just, not that it matters, I guess, but anyway.
I think they had access to the end of the old country house, didn't they?
I see.
Or And that's where it ended, I think, right where the garbage container was. I don't know that for sure, but that seemed to be where it ended. Sue?
Yeah, no, you're correct. And the access through the Shoppers Drug Mart will definitely make it easier for big trucks to get in there and back in, back out. So yeah, it's just to make a better, clearer legal access to Cozy Corner.
Yeah, fair enough. And good news, we got enough congestion on that side of the street for sure. Okay, so actually, I think you've probably dealt with the next two resolutions too, Sue, pretty well, haven't you?
Yeah, the second resolution is to do with the two lots merged because they were put in identical ownership. So we're just recreating the original parcel fabric.
Okay. Okay, well, why don't we do the resolution on that and move one at a time here? Tamara?
Be it resolved that council supports the general principle of a proposal for consent file DOOSV 2023-09, Lands of Easton's Grocers Limited, subject to the conditions outlined within the staff report.
Okay, mover and seconder, Pat and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay, the next one then, Tamara?
Be it resolved that council supports the general principle of a proposal for severance number DOOSV 2020. Is this the same one? Or is it a different one? Sorry.
Should be 2023-009, I believe.
No, we're good. Yep, 009. Lands of Easton's Grocers Limited, subject to the following, or subject to the conditions outlined within the staff report.
Okay. Mover and seconder again. Pat and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay, the next one then.
The next one is for the lot addition, which is a severance. Yeah,
Okay.
severance for lot addition.
Okay. We're on to the next next development here now, right?
Yeah, for file D00SV 2023-010.
Okay, so we're done with Sue then. Thank you, Sue.
That's correct.
Sorry about
So
that.
yeah, no worries.
Okay, so
And
now we can go ahead.
that's correct.
Okay.
So this is for a severance proposal. Is for the purpose to sever and convey a portion of the subject property for a lot addition to adjacent property known as roll number 041000 -44945. No new lots or new buildings or structures or new uses are proposed with this application. It is recommended that council support the general principle of the consent proposal as submitted, subject to the conditions as listed in the report.
Okay, Harm, do you have any comments on that?
Oh, all looks pretty straightforward, Murray.
Okay, resolution then?
No, we don't have to. No.
You don't need to leave yet, Barry. Tamara?
Be it resolved that council support the general principle of severance proposal for file number DOOSV 2023-010, lands of Donkervoort and McGee, subject to the conditions outlined within the staff report.
Okay, moving seconder. Okay, Walt, who have I got?
Walt and Tammy.
Walt and Tammy, okay, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, now Barry can leave. I think that next one's you, Barry.
That's correct. Okay, so this is for file number D00SV 2023-011. So this is for the adjacent property. Essentially, what's happening with these two is they're just doing severances and a land swap. So the severance proposal is for the purpose to sever and convey a portion of the property, subject property for lot addition to adjacent property known as roll number 041-000-51400 to accommodate a more suitable building envelope for the lands of Boyce. No new lots, new buildings or structures or new use are being proposed with this proposal. And it is recommended that council support the general principle of the consent proposal, subject to the conditions as listed in the report.
The day we were out there looking at the trees there, Barry showed us that it's quite a steep bank, actually. No, not really any good to his lot, so makes sense to switch. Okay, have a resolution first.
Be it resolved, the council supports the general principle of severance proposal for file number DOO-SV 2023-011 Lands of Boyce, subject to the conditions outlined within the staff report.
We should make a note that Barry left the meeting because he had a conflict there.
Actually, under our policies, councilors don't have to leave, they just have to.
Oh, okay,
Voting under. a new-
okay. Well, he did anyway, he's safe.
Yep.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Carm, all in favor? Carried.
Should tell him to come back.
Okay, Barry can come back in. Now, our favorite subject, communication tower.
Yeah, so yeah, this report is just coming back for council. It's a review of the Highlands East telecommunication policy. At the April council meeting, I summarized some of the key points, but council wanted some more time to review it. If council would like me to summarize some of those key points again, I'm happy to. And if you have any specific questions related to the Highlands East policy, I can do my best to answer them.
Any questions? I think we went over it pretty carefully the last time. Okay, so then resolution, Mara.
Be it resolved, the council accept the report pertaining to the telecommunications antenna tower siting and consultation protocol for the municipality of Highlands East.
Okay, mover and seconder. Walt, I can't see any hand.
Is this just actually receiving the report?
Yes.
That what you're-
Yes.
Okay.
Walt and Carm.
Okay, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Next. Yep. Policy review.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, last month at the council meeting, council directed staff to bring back a report on the steps necessary to create and implement policies that would support additional residential units in accessory buildings outside of the Haliburton Village. As per the staff report, over the past few years, several changes have been made to the provincial planning documents as the province continues to take steps towards a targeted approach to deliver on its plan to build 1.5 million homes by 2031. One of the more notable changes to the Planning Act was provisions related to the as of right construction of additional residential units. And these include accessory dwellings located in accessory buildings. Given that we do not have town water or town sewers, these as of right policies don't apply to Dysart at all. But it seems many jurisdictions are still trying to take advantage of the spirit of the provincial direction. So in terms of the process to update our policies, I took a look at our official plan and our zoning bylaw. They do contain, especially the official plan contains very specific policy language with regards to secondary units. So if we want to implement or update these policies, an official plan amendment will be required. After that, an amendment to the zoning bylaw will also be necessary to implement the changes to the official plan and to further regulate how council sees those additional residential units and pick appropriate zones for where you would like them. So if you are agreeable, I can bring back a report to council kind of outlining draft amendments to the official plan and zoning bylaw for your consideration.
So is there any way to speed up that official plan amendment?
I looked at some options, and just to make sure that we weren't doing anything wrong, I had a quick conversation with the municipal solicitor, and he advised that this would be the correct approach is to go through and update your official plan first and then your zoning bylaw.
So then we have to get updated at the county, so we're into probably 3 or 4 months at least.
At least. So one of the first steps, if council gives me the direction today to proceed, will be to contact the county just to kind of outline what we're proposing and see if it's in line with their policy and get direction from them what would be required on our end to proceed.
Yeah, and I think Algonquin Highlands is moving in that direction, and probably everybody is. We want to move the process here, so I think that's, if we can just do the county official plan once that covers everybody, then that would be a huge step forward.
Murray, is there a way, again, I'm kind of ignorant to the process of official plan amendments and everything else. Is there a way we can institute a bylaw ourselves to move this forward quicker, or?
We're pretty restricted by the official plan, aren't we?
Yeah, I don't think it'll, I think as long as council gives the direction that this is what they want, then it allows staff to start moving through that process a lot quicker and figure out what's needed. Algonquin Islands has already been through it, as you know, so I don't anticipate the county approval is going to be any issues. They would have had to do that as well.
So if Algonquin Highlands has done it already, would it not be a blanket amendment for the whole county then? Would we follow up that or no?
It wouldn't be, no, but they would know what the process was very quickly, probably, to move things through. So
Have they actually got it done, or have they just proposed it?
No, it's in place.
When did they start that?
Last year or the year before.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
God,
they
we
did
don't
their
want to go down-
comprehensive review and they implemented it at that time.
So we can copy that, basically.
I did review Minden Hills because they're actually in the process of proposing changes, whereas Algonquin Highlands have implemented changes, and they both have good policies. There's some sections that I'll bring forward for council's attention. And if I may, I know I mentioned this at the last meeting, but I want to mention it again about our current policies in hopes that, like, while this is happening, maybe more people will take advantage of them, because duplex, semi-detached, or basement apartments are currently permitted as of right on most properties within the municipality, except waterfront properties. So no planning approval is required. You can build secondary units on most properties. If you want it in an accessory building, it's only currently permitted in the village where sewer is available, but it is supported by our official plan.
So we can do it outside the village.
Yeah, anywhere you want except for the waterfront for duplex, semi-detached, and basement apartments. So to date, these provisions have not been utilized to the extent that we were hoping. As of 2017, there's only been 2 duplexes, 1 semi-detached, 2 basement apartments, and 1 in an accessory building. So only a total of 6 extra units. So we would like to see these numbers increased to help with the housing crunch. So I just want to kind of say it again today. Hopefully someone's listening and may want to take advantage of it while we are updating our policies to give more flexibility.
But we can't do Gary Birch's proposal of 2 residences on 1 lot then.
Not at the moment.
Not in a separate building at the moment, only on sewer in a
Okay.
separate building. Yep.
You'll have to attach them with a carport or something. I don't know. There must be a way around. There's always a way around it, but we just have to find the legal way.
Oh, it's just
Okay.
starting the process and getting this resolution so that staff can move forward on going through the steps. I don't think it'll take too long.
No, okay, well, everybody wants to move forward here, I think, as quickly as we can. So I'd like you to bring forward some recommendations, Jeff, that we can hopefully get our teeth into and pass rather than kick it around for 2 or 3 months.
Yep.
I'd like to do something in July with it. So we're moving forward. So just
Jeff, is it
good with you?
just jumping in
Yes.
here for a sec, Murray, is
Yeah.
there, we're going to the, potentially going to county to adjust official plan. Is there anything we could put in there, or is there anything existing for multiple units on one piece of land without going through a 2-year study program or anything like that to get some more traction in terms of cheaper units like say a 10 unit, whatever, on 1 acre in the town hamlet that could feed into the sewer systems or something. I'm for myself and for everybody else, we're looking at more units, easier and faster to get in the ground. It's not a fact of materials or construction ability or anything else. It always seems to hang up is what's in the balance of, you know, official plan and.
Yeah,
and-
exactly. I hear you. It's kind of frustrating when you're trying to do something.
It is.
You can't
And-
get it done.
Right.
And what you're thinking about doing is the right thing, but we got to make it so that you can do it. You know, like you're right. If we could put kind of like a motel or only larger units on one property, you know, and design a sewage system that would handle it, whether it was on sewer or not, it's not going to do any damage. So
all the mechanical issues are solvable quite easily. It's what
Right.
hangs in the balance for planning and approvals, you know, so.
well,
I had a question for Jeff. If I remember correctly, when Gary brought this forward, it was talked about that somebody could build another unit, a certain size. But there'd only be one owner of the units. Is that correct? And if it was-
Correct. They are accessory to the main use. Yep.
okay, so then, and if it was going to be sold, the both units would be sold together. Like,
Yes, still one parcel.
Still one parcel. Okay, thanks very much.
so you can build a granny suite or you can build a duplex, but you can't build two separate buildings. Right?
In the rural areas, currently correct.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you build a separate granny suite, it's like two separate buildings. They're just connected by a roof or a carport or something.
Yeah,
Or
and
does it-
that's the process today if council wants. So these are the policies that were put in place by council in 2017. So
Yeah.
if we want to change those following this provincial direction, this is the opportunity to do so.
And of course, in 2017, we didn't see the housing crisis the way it is in 2023. Oh boy. Well, we gotta, whatever you can find to help us move forward there, we gotta move forward as quickly as we can. I think everybody agrees with that. If we can find some, a loophole somewhere, it'd be nice. I don't know how we do that, but that's why we got intelligent people working on the staff, right? Find loophole.
I don't think we need any loopholes. I think the regulations are there. We just got to get through the steps, but I can read the resolution if you like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Be it resolved that council received the staff report related to the proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendments to implement policies to support additional residential units. And further, that council directs staff to prepare draft amendments to the municipality's official plan and zoning bylaw for review and consideration by council at a future meeting.
Just before we do that, I thought Ford passed some legislation that would let you circumvent some of this stuff.
It's allowing
We-
you to include some of this stuff, like to make these changes, but you still have to make the changes within your documentation.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Well, and
Go ahead.
if I may, sorry. So there were policies passed that said, and it was via Bill 23 that it permitted as of right accessory units, but only where there was sewer and town water available. So because we don't have town sewer or town water anywhere or combined, those provisions didn't apply. They have put in other good language that said that you cannot include policies in your official plan or zoning bylaw that prevent additional residential units. So it's just a
Well,
matter of.
that's
updating
pretty
the
open.
policy. Yeah, they want to make sure everybody's official plans are conforming with their direction. So that's the direction we want to go right now. Ours does say you can only put 2 units in certain areas. So it's a matter of changing that.
I'd like to, if council agree, I'd like to reach out to Drew Mitchell on this. He's very much in tune with what the Ford government's doing on this housing stuff. And if anybody could find a way we could move forward maybe more quickly. He could. Doesn't cost anything to ask him. And he'll give us some pretty good advice, I think. Or if any of the other counselors know Drew well, I think we need to reach out to him right now and say, how do we get around this, Drew?
Murray, I think,
Murray.
are you referring to Kelly?
Yeah.
Mitchell?
Yeah, Kelly, sorry, not Drew, Kelly, yeah.
I think at this point, I think that he's got a ton of information, but I think at this point, it's just, we still have to go through the steps here of giving staff direction to make these changes and then get it through a OP review at the county, like, no matter what, we have to go through those, so I don't think that's.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you by doing the right thing, but on the other hand, if we can get it passed back quicker with a little bit of assistance down at Queen's Park, that would be a good thing. Because the provincial policy overrides the county plan, don't forget. So you
Yeah.
still got to go up to the province.
Right now, though, Jeff can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we need any provincial approval for this because the county's got that authority to approve our
The
official.
county can approve our plan, but the province approves the county's plan. And they need to see the changes in the county plan. I know I went through that 4 times.
The county plan, though, must be adequate because Algonquin made the same changes we're proposing, so. I'm thinking we're okay. I think we just need to move this resolution through.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead the way we're going, but I'm
Murray,
not-
a very, not a shady question. What are the repercussions if we just went ahead and made our own bylaw and move forward like it with, is there a penalty if we don't conform to the Planning Act? And again, please, I don't know the framework of it, so I'm just trying to do in my own head, justify moving forward when, you know, the province is saying one thing and then we're lived with, we're at the task of trying to disseminate what we can, what we can't, but anyway.
Right. Chris?
Well, essentially, when you're going through the whole process and public processes, you're going to have the public. So if you get appealed and you don't follow the Planning Act, the provincial statements and everything else, then you get appealed, which will then unfortunately delay or cause a longer delay than doing it the appropriate way. So that's kind of what will happen is when you get the appeals and stuff happening.
That's the problem with going through the process. If somebody decides when they read that they don't want 2 houses beside them on a residential lot and they appeal it or they throw a snag into it, away we go again. But anyway, we'll deal with one thing at a time, I guess. And, but you're right, that's what can delay it for sure. Anyway, we'll go every direction we can here. Okay, Tamara, you got a resolution now?
Yeah, I've read it, so you just need a mover and seconder.
You read it, but it's so long ago I forgot it.
Okay, I can do it again. Be it resolved, the council received the staff report related to proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendments to implement policies to support additional residential units. And further, the council directs staff to prepare draft amendments to the municipality's official plan and zoning bylaw for review and consideration by council at a future meeting. And I think Jeff.
Mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay, so I think we're going to have a break now for 15 minutes. Everybody ready for a break?
Well, we can actually adjourn if you want to adjourn because we're done open session, I think.
Yeah, we can adjourn open session if you want, sure.
Be it resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting at 10:25 a.m. to discuss matters pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act as amended pertaining to a proposed acquisition of land in the township of Dysart on County Road 21 and a proposed disposition of lands in the township of Dysart Industrial Park.
And then we'll close and then we'll just go back and do the closed session after the break and we're good. Okay, mover and seconder,
I'll move.
Tammy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. So we'll take a break till say 5 minutes after 11. And we'll come back. You got that, Lori?
We're good.
We're good. Okay.
Are we good to go, Laurie, or are we waiting? Okay, we're good. Okay, go ahead, Murray.
Okay, so now we need a resolution to go back into open session,
Yeah, we've got that. We're straight into the resolution.
straight into?
Yep.
Okay, so you want to do the resolution then on, from closed?
Sure can. Be it resolved that council authorizes the purchase of the property legally described as part lot 10, concession 9 in the geographic township of Dysart, municipality of Dysart et al. As in H 43244, except part 1, plan 19R 8735 and part 1, plan 195 10315. Roll number 4624012000727000 for $1,725,000 from 856761 Ontario Limited. Save and accept a 3.25 acre lot to be surveyed and created in the southwest corner along County Road 21. And further directs that the municipality will pay for all survey work required to create the 3.25 acre lot that will be retained by the seller, and further directs the clerk, CAO, mayor and treasurer to take all action and execute all documentation required to complete the purchase.
Okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Any notices of motion?
Yeah, Murray, I'd like to, I think this is Tamara. I think there's where I got to jump in here.
Sure.
I want to put a notice of motion into some pedestrian signs, watch for pedestrian signs or something along the Sir Sam's Road and maybe on the bridge at an Eagle Lake there.
Okay. It's a pretty congested area, isn't it? Nancy?
Had a few people phone me about it, so
Okay.
like to throw that out there. Yep.
Just a question for Rob, would the watch for pedestrian or whatever tie in with the the speed study that we're going to be receiving shortly? Or in the fall? For community safety zones?
Not necessarily. So community safety zones are, so they have legal authority and warning signage does not, so.
Okay, no difference there. Okay, so, by the way, I apologize. It was kind of an unjointed meeting today, but we got through it. But thank you for your patience, council and staff. Okay, confirming bylaw.
Do you want, or just 1 second with the notice of motion, do you want a direction that a staff report come back on that to review, or is it fairly okay? Would that work for you if I?
Well, it will work, but I don't, it's pretty straightforward. It's a single lane bridge, isn't it?
I think he might want to recommend where placement is and so forth as well. So typically the notice of motion will allow us to bring it on to the next agenda. That's you get.
You're talking a replacement of the bridge?
Pardon me?
Lord, that's the Trent Severn. I don't know if we'd replace that or not.
No, no. I'm
anyway.
talking Placement of the signage.
Oh, the
I'm just
replacement
saying
where they
notice
go,
of-
okay,
Yeah, notice of motion just allows us to bring it forward to the next agenda. So
okay, all right.
I'm suggesting we bring it back. But I have a motion that says, be it resolved that staff bring back a report on pedestrian signage in the Eagle Lake area.
Well, that ought to turn the guy on the corner loose there now. Okay. Mover and seconder? Barry and
Walt,
Pat, all in favor? Barry? Okay, now the confirming bylaw.
There we go. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2023-65 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular council meeting held on June 27th be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder? Walt and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Now we have the adjournment. Anything else anybody wants to add? Okay,
Be it resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting held on June 27th, 23 at 12 noon.
mover and seconder. Pat and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Maybe I'll get glued back together and be able to sit and join you guys. Take care.
Thank you.